If you're an introverted HSP, like me, then finding yourself in lockdown this past year probably felt more nurturing to you than it felt challenging. 70% of HSPs are introverted, and most of us do have a natural tendency to want to hide in our shell. The remaining 30% who are extroverted HSPs love to be around people and feed off of other people's energy, but eventually they also need to retreat to a quiet place too. This is why most HSPs prefer to be self-employed or at least have flexible work. Our focus and creativity is at its best when we're in a quiet space, away from distractions. It took me a long time to understand this about myself. I worked as an architect for most of my life, and I found myself working in open plan offices and shared spaces, constantly surrounded by people, probably like most of you. Since university, we were taught that group thinking and group working is the way to success. We were encouraged to work in shared studio spaces with each other and work together. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for collaboration, and I actually feel extremely inspired by others and their work. It helps me step it up to the next level. But collaborating for me does not necessarily mean having to work alongside other people all of the time, and of that being the only path to success. I spent most of my life studying and working in environments that encouraged this concept and that preached that this is the only way that I could ever succeed. And this is, of course, the case for so many other industries too, and probably the one that you're in as well. Open plan offices were actually created to encourage teamwork and sharing ideas. So, for most of my life, I believed that the only way that I could find success in my career was if I tried to change myself. Not great, right? At university, I made myself work in shared studio spaces, which for me were just full of distractions, and I hated it. So eventually, in the last few months of my studies, I gave up on the idea and I decided to hibernate in my room. What it meant was that it made me more productive and focused, and I managed to complete the work that I needed to do. But sadly, that also meant that I was seen as someone who wasn't a team player, or who was socially awkward and not very friendly. And if you can't relate to that, you can probably relate to the working from home experience from this past year. Because for most of us introverted HSPs, we actually thrived during this time, with less distractions, more flow of creativity, and more focus. You probably found yourself feeling a lot more calm as well, and more creative and productive compared to working in a shared office space or a shared working space. Many businesses, unfortunately, still frown upon the working from home concept, and they frown upon it in exactly the same way that I was describing earlier about university culture. Many businesses, as well as schools, constantly preach to their staff or students that if you're not a group thinker or a team player, then you're no good. They preach that the only way to be good at your job or to succeed in your career is if you fit the mold that they are giving you. And this concept sadly also applies to social situations too. So as HSPs, and especially for us introverted HSPs, you can see how it naturally pushes us towards believing that we need to be different and we need to change ourselves. And that we need to change these things about ourselves in order to succeed at life. And of course, to avoid being judged as well, right? And to avoid being called unsociable or not a team player. And this is exactly what is so wrong about all of this, that society has led us to believe that these things which are so untrue. And what it means is that it's now our job to rewire our thinking surrounding all of this. For me, the experience of working from home full time over this past year because of COVID was a total eye-opener. Before COVID hit, I knew that something in my lifestyle had to change, but I didn't know how to change it. I felt constantly overstimulated, but I also didn't want to stop doing a job that I loved. And what lockdown taught me was that it was possible to have the lifestyle that I wanted and to succeed at it. And in fact, I realized that I had a higher chance of success if I was to live the lifestyle that best suited me. I realized that I had to create my own path to success. And this is why I became self-employed full-time. Making that leap has allowed me to not only thrive in both of my careers, but also live a lifestyle that is best suited for me as the introverted HSP that I am. Proudly. Most introverted HSPs work better alone, and this is why the self-employment route tends to work best for most of them. We crave quiet spaces, we crave flexible time because we know that some days we feel more overstimulated than others. And we also enjoy our independence. These conditions are what make us thrive in the work that we do. Most clients who come to me wanting a career change end up choosing the self-employment route, and this is exactly why. They step into my one-to-one program with a deep desire to want to find their purpose and their passion in life and pursue it with a lifestyle that suits them. And when they complete my program, they leave with exactly that. They leave with the clarity that they were looking for to understand and start implementing their next steps. 2 of my clients this month left their jobs in pursuit of their calling, which I helped them identify. And if COVID this year has taught us anything, it's that none of us are immortal. So you can either continue on a path that is easy, comfortable, bland, and okay, or you can step it up and live the life that you were put on this earth to live. And to serve the world as the HSP that you are in a way that is truly meaningful for you. So if you're looking to make some changes in your life and find your calling too, book your discovery call with me. The link is in my bio. And let's see if we're a good fit. I cannot wait to see what's possible for you too.